Hello, and welcome to the first unit of the week at we are doing for Steel Division. If you are a regular to the series, click that timestamp you see on the screen, because I'm just going to explain what it is all about. So, essentially, every week, we take a look at a unit, whether it's an infantry, tank, artillery, I don't care. And there's three parts that we do. First, we take a look at its historical significance, then we take a look at its stats, and then we take a look at how it actually functions in game from a gameplay scenario. Now, I do want to let you know that I am not a historian when it comes to the historical significance part. I'm just a dude who likes military history and military hardware a little bit too much. So if I do get something wrong and if I'm factually incorrect, then I apologise in advance, and feel free to correct me in the comments. I will do my best to ratify myself in the description. And also, we are at number 140, not because we've done another 139 Steel Division units, but it was 139 right from the War Game series, and I'm just going to continue the numbering system, because I've gotten this far, and no way am I restarted now. So, without further ado, today we are taking a look at the M4A1 Sherman, available to the 3rd Armoured, the 2nd American Infantry, and technically the Highlanders. So Sherman was the main tank that the Americans used during the Second World War. Essentially what happened is once they entered war, they realised their tanks were pretty crap compared to what the Germans were fielding now, quite out of date. And so they designed a few tanks that could end up being useful in the European and Pacific fronts, and one of those tanks being the Sherman. It was introduced in 42 to replace a stopgap tank, the M4A1, which was rather inadequate. And for all intents and purposes, the Sherman was pretty good. It's a standard medium tankers, nothing really too fancy about it. It does have some rather nice features though, such as a gyro stabilized turret, allowing it to shoot kind of effectively while moving. It wasn't too cramped on the inside compared to other medium tanks of the day. You did have quite a bit of room to move around, and also it had spring-loaded hatches, which doesn't sound like much, but it means you don't have to put much force into the hatches, escape hatches, when you're trying to escape from, let's say, a burning fire inside a tank or about to get blown up. There's a lot of variations of the Sherman, but for all intents of this video, we're just going to be covering the A1 model. So the A1 model was entered into production in February of 1942 and entered production in December of 43. It's your standard baseline Sherman model, nothing really too fancy about it, except for the rate it is built. Most tanks' hulls are made through a series of steel plates that are welded or riveted together. The A1's hull was completely cast in one giant piece, which streamlined production, making it cheaper and easier to build. They used a lot of these. They had 6,000 of them roughly by the time production ended, and they saw for service on all fronts, and even in the British Army, known as the Sherman Mark II. In battle, the Sherman M4A1 is a 130-point tank with 3 weapons available to it. Its first weapon being the early 75mm cannon with 4 accuracy, 6 rounds a minute, 10 AP power with 40 rounds, and 5 HE power with 50 rounds, and it has a range of 1 kilometer. It's a pretty alright tank gun. It's nothing amazing, I have to say, but you do get a lot of ammunition, which is nice. Secondly, we got 2 Browning machine guns, one in the hull and one in the coaxial position, and they are rather standard tank MGs. And on top, thirdly, we got the big ass Browning 50 cal, which makes this different compared to other tanks because it actually has a big bloody MG on top. And the 50 cal is very good. Unlike War Game, where they're rather unnotable, it makes a big difference in Steel Division. It does have the same HE power as the other MGs, but it does have better range, and also they can engage airplanes. It's not too effective against airplanes, but it's enough to maybe slowly stun them up. It is rather limited in ammunition with only 300 rounds available. And in particular, as miscellaneous stat, it's got 9 frontal armor, 4 at side and 4 at back, and it is enclosed on the top, protecting you from enemy bombs. It has very bad stealth, a speed of 20 kilometers off-road and 60 on the road, and it has very low optic capabilities. In battle, the M4A1 Sherman is a very basic tank. There's not much to it. It's very bland, very standard, nothing fancy at all. But it's still a damn good tank. And I'm really talking about the 3rd Armoured Division here, because in the 3rd Armoured Division, you can get these guys in A phase. And by God, they're good in A phase, because they have the 1-star veterancy, and there's not too much on the field that can effectively kill you. In terms of enemy tanks, you got the Firefly, the Stargate Fate, and maybe some Panzer IIIs, and of course the Pak 38s and Pak 40s will be able to knock you out. But apart from that, you're pretty much good to go. All those French tanks are going to run and hide when the Sherman is on the field. And that what makes the Sherman pretty damn good. It's in the 3rd Armoured A phase. There's also command versions of it, and the Scots have a Sherman Mark II model, which is essentially just an M4A1. And yeah, they're alright, they're decent, but when it comes to A phase, the M4A1 Sherman is an absolute monster in those first 10 minutes. And yeah, it's a good tank. There's really not much to say. It's just a Sherman. There's lots of Shermans in this game, of course, because it's a World War II game. And yeah, I'm going to shut up and leave it at that. This has been another Rang Rouge Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.